Actromalnus, the mystery of the new word. Chapter 1, The Echo in the Void. Professor Eleanor Ainsworth, a linguist whose life revolved around the subtle nuances of language, found herself staring blankly at the computer screen. Lines of code flickered, remnants of the day's research, but her focus was locked on a single, alien string of letters, Actromalnus. She'd stumbled upon it during a routine scan of a newly digitized collection of ancient texts. The algorithm, designed to flag potential linguistic anomalies, had pinged her with this single, isolated word, buried deep within a crumbling folio labeled simply Fragmenta Occulta, Hidden Fragments. The fragment was a jumbled mess, seemingly a collection of scribbled notes, diagrams of strange astronomical formations, and snippets of what appeared to be ritualistic prayers, all written in a dead dialect of Latin heavily influenced by Etruscan. But amidst the chaos, Actromalnus stood out. It was written in a bolder hand, almost as if deliberately emphasized, and underlined twice. Eleanor ran the word through every database she possessed. Classical Latin dictionaries, archaic glossaries, obscure etymological indexes, nothing. It was a linguistic phantom, an echo in the void. Impossible, she muttered, pushing her glasses up her nose. She had dedicated her life to unraveling the mysteries of language, tracing words back to their ancient roots, uncovering lost connections between cultures. But this was something else. It felt deliberate. Like a piece of a puzzle carefully hidden from the world. She tried decomposing the word, breaking it down into potential prefixes and suffixes. Actro hinted at action or perhaps something relating to stars, astro. Malnus, nothing. It was a dead end. Frustration gnawed at her. She knew, deep down, that Actromalnus wasn't just a random jumble of letters. It held a meaning, a purpose. And she was determined to find it. Chapter 2, The Whispers of the Library. Driven by an insatiable curiosity, Eleanor immersed herself in the Fragmenta Occulta. The library, a repository of forgotten lore and whispered secrets, became her sanctuary. Dust motes danced in the shafts of sunlight that pierced through the tall windows, illuminating the ancient pages filled with cryptic symbols and faded ink. She spent days deciphering the surrounding text, painstakingly translating the archaic Latin dialect. The scribbled notes spoke of celestial alignments, the influence of distant stars on earthly events, and the existence of beings beyond human comprehension. It was esoteric, bordering on fantastical, but she couldn't dismiss it entirely. One phrase kept recurring, the key unlocks the void. This, coupled with the diagrams of strange constellations, suggested a cosmic significance to the fragment. Could Actromalnus be the key? The unlocking mechanism? As she delved deeper, Eleanor began to notice patterns. The scribe, whoever they were, seemed obsessed with cyclical events, with rebirth and destruction, with the constant flux of the universe. They believed that certain words, certain incantations, held the power to influence these cycles, to shape reality itself. She also discovered a recurring symbol, a stylized eye surrounded by 7 points. This symbol, she recognized, was associated with a little-known Etruscan cult that worshipped a celestial deity known as the Watcher. The Watcher, according to legend, observed humanity from the stars and intervened in human affairs only in times of great need, or imminent destruction. Was Actromalnus connected to the Watcher? Was it a word of power, a plea for intervention, or perhaps a warning? Chapter 3, The Shadow in the Archives. Eleanor wasn't the only one interested in the Fragmenta Occulta. One evening, as she was leaving the library, she noticed a figure lurking in the shadows near the archive entrance. The figure was tall and cloaked, their face obscured by the low lighting. "Who's there?" she called out, her heart pounding. The figure didn't respond. They simply turned and vanished into the labyrinthine corridors of the library. Eleanor dismissed it as paranoia, the product of long hours spent immersed in ancient texts. But then she noticed something missing. A small, leather-bound book, a companion volume to the Fragmenta Occulta, was gone from its designated shelf. Someone else was looking for Actromalnus. And they were willing to steal to find it. Panic began to set in. This wasn't just an academic pursuit anymore. Something bigger was at play, something dangerous. She contacted a colleague, Dr. Marcus Bellwether, a cryptographer and expert in ancient codes. She trusted Marcus implicitly. He was a rational, level-headed man, the perfect foil to her more speculative tendencies. "Marcus, I need your help," she said, her voice trembling. "I've stumbled upon something incredible, and I think it's drawing some unwanted attention." Chapter 4, The Cipher and the Clockwork Key. Marcus arrived the next day, his brow furrowed with concern. Eleanor explained everything: the enigmatic word, the hidden fragment, the shadowy figure, and the stolen book. "This sounds unsettling, Eleanor," Marcus said, pacing her office. "Let's see what we can decipher." Marcus focused on the stolen book, which he suspected contained a cipher key. Using his expertise, he discovered that the book contained a series of complex algorithms based on prime numbers and celestial coordinates. He believed it was a code specifically designed to unlock the meaning of Actromalnus. Meanwhile, Eleanor continued her research on the Fragmenta Occulta. She noticed that certain phrases were highlighted or emphasized in a way that didn't seem to make sense grammatically. She experimented with shifting letters, rearranging words, and applying different coding techniques, following Marcus's lead. After days of relentless work, they finally made a breakthrough. Using the cipher from the stolen book, they managed to decode a hidden message embedded within the Fragmenta Occulta. The message referenced a celestial event, a rare alignment of planets that would occur in exactly 3 months. And it contained a cryptic clue: the clockwork key opens the gate. The message suggested that Actromalnus wasn't just a word, but a mechanism, a process, a key that could be used during the upcoming celestial alignment. But what gate was it supposed to open? And what would happen if it was opened? Chapter 5, The Cult of the Watcher. Eleanor and Marcus realized they were in a race against time. The celestial alignment was approaching rapidly, and whoever stole the book was likely trying to decipher the meaning of Actromalnus as well. They decided to investigate the Etruscan cult of the Watcher. Their research led them to a remote village in Italy, nestled in the Apennine Mountains. The village was shrouded in mystery, its inhabitants wary of outsiders. After much coaxing and careful questioning, they learned that the cult of the Watcher still existed, albeit in a deeply secretive and fragmented form. They discovered that the cult believed that the upcoming celestial alignment would create a thinning of the veil between realities, allowing the Watcher to communicate with humanity. The cult was divided into 2 factions. One faction believed that the Watcher offered salvation, a chance for humanity to transcend its earthly limitations. The other faction believed that the Watcher was a malevolent force, a cosmic predator that sought to consume humanity. It became clear that the person who stole the book belonged to one of these factions. But which one? And what did they intend to do with Actromalnus? Chapter 5, The Cult of the Watcher. Eleanor and Marcus realized they were in a race against time. The celestial alignment was approaching rapidly, and whoever stole the book was likely trying to decipher the meaning of Actromalnus as well. They decided to investigate the Etruscan cult of the Watcher. Their research led them to a remote village in Italy, nestled in the Apennine Mountains. The village was shrouded in mystery, its inhabitants wary of outsiders. After much coaxing and careful questioning, they learned that the cult of the Watcher still existed, albeit in a deeply secretive and fragmented form. They discovered that the cult believed that the upcoming celestial alignment would create a thinning of the veil between realities, allowing the Watcher to communicate with humanity. The cult was divided into 2 factions. One faction believed that the Watcher offered salvation, a chance for humanity to transcend its earthly limitations. The other faction believed that the Watcher was a malevolent force, a cosmic predator that sought to consume humanity. It became clear that the person who stole the book belonged to one of these factions. But which one? And what did they intend to do with Actromalnus? Chapter 7, The Language of Salvation. Marcus acted quickly. While the cult leader was engrossed in his ritual, Marcus disabled the clockwork key with a well-placed shot from a tranquilizer gun hidden beneath his coat. The chanting stopped abruptly. Chaos erupted. The cult members turned on Eleanor and Marcus, brandishing knives and chanting curses. A fierce struggle ensued. Eleanor, drawing on her knowledge of the archaic Latin dialect, began to speak. She spoke not of sacrifice or servitude, but of understanding and compassion. She spoke of the interconnectedness of all things, of the potential for humanity to reach for the stars without resorting to violence or fear. She spoke the language of salvation. Her words resonated with some of the cult members. They hesitated, their faces filled with doubt. The leader, enraged, lunged at Eleanor, but one of his own followers stepped in front of her, sacrificing himself to protect her. Chapter 8, The Echo Fades. The arrival of local authorities, alerted by Marcus, dispersed the remaining cult members. The leader was taken into custody, muttering about cosmic retribution and the imminent return of the Watcher. The clockwork key was secured, and the ritual was thwarted. In the aftermath, Eleanor and Marcus continued their research. They discovered that Actromalnus wasn't just a word, but a complex algorithm, a set of instructions designed to manipulate the fabric of reality. But its purpose wasn't to summon a malevolent entity, but to connect with the universe, to unlock a deeper understanding of our place within it. Eleanor decided to keep Actromalnus hidden, locked away from those who might misuse its power. She knew that humanity wasn't ready for such knowledge, that the potential for both good and evil was too great. The echo of Actromalnus faded, but the mystery remained. Eleanor knew that the universe held countless secrets, waiting to be discovered. And she, the linguist who had stumbled upon a word that could change the world, would continue to listen for those whispers, to unravel the mysteries that lay hidden within the language of the cosmos. Epilogue. Years later, Eleanor, now a renowned professor emeritus, received a cryptic message. It was a single word, scribbled on a torn piece of parchment, sequitur. It follows. She knew what it meant. The universe was calling again. The mystery of Actromalnus was just the beginning. Her journey had only just begun.